Hello, everyone. Live show number 29 here. Ramon Azab, a.k.a. Ramon with the Alliance, and I am with good old Maurice. How you doing, good old Maurice?
Hello, everyone. Live show number 29 here. Ramon Azab, a.k.a. Ramon with the
That's you, man.
Yeah. That's what happens.
Yeah, I'm doing good, dude. I'm doing good.
Okay.
Doing a little late night Friday streaming here.
I'll tell you, when I heard myself there, I thought that was you with bringing that kind of excitement, and I was like overwhelmed for a second. I thought that I thought you got out of your chair, to say that, and I was actually excited. I thought you got me amped up for a second, but it was actually me that got myself amped up because it was just.
All right, next week I'll come in with some thunder.
If you want to bring some thunder, I think I'd really appreciate it. But sorry about that. Some technical difficulties to start the stream, which is always great. But hey, guys, welcome back. This is the Halloween special edition. We have the Halloween week that we can discuss and take a look at some Nightsisters here is what we're looking at on screen right now. This is actually good old Maurice's Arena squad. And this is actually a really interesting match here because almost his entire squad gets wiped out in the first couple of seconds here. And he's been having a lot of success with this team. Maurice, you want to talk about it a little bit?
Well, basically, it's at the very beginning of the video, about 30-40 seconds in, I just want you guys to watch how Kenobi dies. And like how bad Plague messes up Thrawn's AI. Like Thrawn will just go through and kill characters now when he gets to the turn meter. It's pretty crazy. But it's just five Nightsisters. I've got a Zeta on Talzin, her leadership ability, which brings back any Nightsister that's dead to assist. And then all the rest of them are pretty decked out. I believe Zombie's gear 9 in this video. The rest of them are all gear 12. All this, your buddy Cubs fan Han put out a video of this a couple weeks ago talking about this. I kind of just replicated it, and it's legit. See how Kenobi, you'll see Kenobi die in just a second.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's a crazy comeback. I mean, you just basically came back with just Nightsister Acolyte and Zombie left on the board. I mean, you just came back and won that match. I mean, that's pretty good. I think that was to get to rank 1. So that was a good match.
But the thing, like Acolyte, you'll notice she double taps. Now, for those of you that didn't really pay much attention to Acolyte's rework, she's like a dark side Leia almost. I mean, she is a very good, legit character now. And you'll see she double taps. And she'll bring back, on the first tap, she'll bring back a character, and that character will actually attack. But on the double tap, it'll bring back a character where they won't attack. I'm not sure if that's working as intended. But if you do kill the enemy, both of those characters will stay up.
Does she only double tap when she's stealthed, or does she double tap?
Yes. Her new one of her new Omegas, if she's stealth, she attacks it a second time, 100%. Like if she's stealth, she'll double tap every time.
Okay, pretty interesting.
Yeah. And all I basically do is, in this, I faced almost every top 20 team on my arena with this shard, on my shard now, with this team. You can beat anybody with it. On defense, I took out Acolyte today. Actually, I took out Acolyte and put in GK on defense. And I'm still in 3rd place. My payout was 8 hours ago. It's a really good team and very, very, in the game. You can actually solo the Rancor with it now. You can do big damage in P3.
We're going to take a look at that too. We have some footage of you soloing a Rancor at 4 times speed, so we're going to take a look at that also. But yeah, I mean, I'm pretty impressed. I mean, I honestly I have my Talzin at 6 stars right now, and I've been contemplating whether I should keep going, try to get it to 7 stars or not, or what I'm going to do. But she seems like a great character. I mean, now I knew already from some of the footage that we saw that she looked pretty impressive as a character with the other Nightsisters here. And you see, I mean, even if the chips are down, the fight's not out with these guys, you could still, come back in most matches with this team. And I don't know how that holds on defense. I mean, Maurice is saying it's doing pretty well today, but my curiosity is, because I'm not going to run a full Nightsister squad, how good are they, or how good is Mother Talzin without, let's say, Zombie and Old Daka and Nightsister Acolyte, for example?
Oh, she is. She's definitely like an insert meta character here type of character, like a Thrawn, Kenobi, not CLS, but like a Nihilus. Like, just those characters that you always find a way to squeeze them into your team. She definitely makes that cut now. And something one strong man in the chat says they're behind a big paywall, and that is 100% accurate. But Talzin and Zombie both. I mean, you don't need 7-star characters for Arena, like especially Zombie. And if you guys haven't leveled up your Zombie yet, I would almost suggest not, because I mean, especially with Asajj's new passive, her new unique, she stacks offense. So if you keep the Zombie as weak as possible, it's just going to continue to stick. The Zombie is just going to die and die and die, and just keep stacking that offense on Asajj. I'm not sure. I sent Ramon a bunch of videos, but there's a few of them here at the very end of the battle. They're calling Asajj up for an assist, and she's just clocking, 25K, 30K on her basic from all the stacking offense. And so it's. Now, to answer your question, Tal's is definitely good with any character. I think because she's so good because you can't dispel or you can't cleanse yourself, right? So characters like Death Trooper are good because they have squad-wide AOE healing immunity. So I mean that if Tal's is not enough to get rid of Barris, that combo will do it instantly. B2 is actually a very, very interesting option to pair with her because everyone's using Raid Han, right, in Arena. And so Raid Han's going to fire first, twice. And so B2 is going to have two chances to proc that turn meter gain of his. And he can just spread buff immunity across the whole team, turn, and then Towns can go and lay the plague down. They can't get rid of the buff immunity. They can't taunt. They can't get any sort of buff whatsoever. That's pretty nasty. She pairs real well with Thrawn, Nihilus, just any meta team.
Well, the plague seems to be OP. To be honest with you, plague seems to be really, really dangerous. And somebody has a question here from Kagaru. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. From Syndicate here wants to know what happens with them in Galactic War. So I'm assuming that whatever makes it through the match, whatever survives to the end of the Galactic War match, will be there for you in the next battle. So I mean, if you, let's say, have all 5 of them get revived by the end, then you'll have all 5 for the next Galactic War. But if by the end of the battle, none of them, 1 or 2 of them hasn't revived, then you won't have them for the following battle. Am I right?
Yeah, and okay. that's the thing. I haven't used them much in Galactic War. I use them on like the easier nodes, like the 1 through 5, and then the 7 through 9. And they're good, but like you really have to. I mean, to keep all 5 of them alive, they're going to die. But you have to time it properly to make sure all 5 are alive at the end of the match. It's almost just quicker to use like a Resistance or some of your other Galactic War teams. It's just that can be time consuming.
For sure. We're looking at some footage here of the Nightsister squad in the raid. So we're looking at the Rancor here, and you can see all those stacking plagues now on the Rancor. So I mean, again,
the plague doesn't do any damage. I mean, the plague does no damage. It's like 300 damage every time it procs. So I mean, the plague really does nothing. Talzin, you're using Talzin in this comp because she's a Nightsister. She's got 30 extra speed. So with her leader ability, or I think I'm actually using Asajj leader for this. 2 base speed with the leader ability. So she goes fast, and that assist attack of hers that she has underneath the Zeta Asajj. This Rancor is a Zeta Asajj lead, not a 1,000. Underneath Asajj, she's got that assist attack. She calls in all 4 of these Nightsisters. So you got 4 chances to remove 20% turn meter. So it's like if you roll nice, that's 80% turn meter you take away from the Rancor or the Piggy here. So
absolutely,
this requires a Zeta Asajj lead. And this is, I've got Thrawn and Talzin in here, but I ran a bunch of tests. You can do it with a Zeta Asajj lead in all 5 of the free-to-play Nightsisters. No, you don't need Zombie, you don't need Spirit or Talzin, or even Thrawn. You can use all 5. You just have to have decent speed to make sure, because the leader ability is very similar to Vader's, where you got a 50% chance to remove 20% turn meter every time you damage the Rancor. So as you can see, like the Rancor is never going, and I don't have Jin in there. I don't have Tarkin to remove all the turn meter, and this really rivals of Vader.
Now with
and as for a brand new player, you can almost suggest going with the Nightsisters. I mean, I guess depending on where future content goes, if we get like a dark side territory battle or something like that.
Well, I'm curious if it stacks kind of like the dots for Vader. What's Vader's ability to read again? Is it however many negative status effects he removes is more damage?
Are you talking about Asajj?
No, I'm talking about Vader.
Oh yeah. Now Grim asked this the other night. I'm not sure if plague counts as a debuff for Vader. I'm sure there's somebody probably even in the chat that knows. I don't personally know.
That's what I was wondering.
Thousand in as a support for Vader and really solo that Rancor quick if it counts, as a debuff.
Right, because that would really change the whole thing. Because I mean, you'd be stacking, dots and you'd be stacking plague, and he might do even more damage if you, let's say, had a combination of, Vader and Mother Talzin. So that'd be kind of interesting to see, but. Yeah, well, we're going to do this week.
Yeah, and you see, like, this was my very first time doing this team, and I sold it in 15 minutes. If you really put some time and effort into modding it properly, you could probably sell the rank for it 12 minutes or less.
Really?
That's just from opening the raid and putting your team and just hitting the auto button from the get-go.
That's pretty good.
Okay, K. Drew says it does not count. Plague does not count as a debuff in terms of his culling blade, so.
Okay. All right, so that answers that question. But yeah, I mean, overall, a pretty interesting squad. Now, what I want to do is I want to just do a few Galactic War battles here, and we'll talk a little bit about Jedi Rey. Obviously, we have the Hero's Journey event coming. We all know about this. And I just want to kind of read a little bit about what they said and kind of discuss, or do some speculation here as to what's going to be necessary. I know we did a little bit of talking about this last week, but now that it's been confirmed, we definitely want to, try to hit that subject too. So, Rey. Now we have from the actual blog that they posted, it says, the Galaxy Heroes introduced the very first Hero's Journey event with Luke Skywalker as he first appeared on Tatooine. Players can experience iconic events from the film and eventually unlock the next evolution of this character. So similar to the way we were able to unlock Commander Luke Skywalker, we're going to get an opportunity to do the same with Rey. Obviously, she's going to be required for that. Have you put any thought into the other characters that are going to be required? I mean, I know last week we were talking about the smugglers. We were talking about BB-8. We're thinking about maybe Finn. What other characters do you think could possibly be involved in this, if not those characters?
I think it's going to be Finn, Rey, smugglers, BB-8. That makes sense to me. I don't really know. I mean, I don't. And the thing is, like, this is very similar to the first Hero's Journey, right? Like, when they first announced that, CLS was coming, they teased us with it, but then they gave us these you remember the Flash events where you used your, Farm Boy and all the Jawas?
Right.
Like, they gave us, that event came back for 1, 2, 3 a month, 3 weeks a month, just randomly. And I'd imagine they're going to do the same sort of, like another Flash event sort of thing. With Rey Scavenger, because they did rename Farm Boy too right before that, and now they've renamed Rey. I wouldn't be surprised if we get some Flash events with Rey Scavenger, while it leads up to the Rey character.
Now I wonder what they're going to do. So you see, what I'm thinking is, I think that the event doesn't come out till either the day The Last Jedi gets released or afterwards. Because I think they actually include a scene from The Last Jedi in the hero's journey. So I think that, maybe, if there's a scene in there where she's fighting, somebody, it's probably not just going to end at, what happens at the end of the Force Awakens, or maybe it does. Maybe the last fight is a fight against, Kylo Ren. At the end there. Who knows? That'd be kind of cool. But yeah, I believe that's going to be the required characters. I think you're going to need. We're looking at definitely the smugglers. I'd say BB-8, and then also we're looking at Finn as well. But I don't know. I'm just kind of on the fence as far as what. I don't know whether she's going to be considered a Jedi or not. And that's really the biggest question here, because that kind of changes all my thoughts about whether I'm interested in this character or not. Actually, no matter what, I'm going to be interested in a lightsaber wielding Rey. I'm sure she'll be great, and her kit will be fantastic. But if she's Resistance, I'll be less interested than if she's a Jedi, if that makes any sense. Even though the Resistance will be great, then I'm sure you throw some Zetas on Rey and maybe BB-8, and you use a Zeta Finn, and all of a sudden the team's great. Who knows? Maybe she might have a cool leader ability for Resistance or something.
You almost have to a leader ability, yeah.
Right.
The Resistance is fine as is. They don't need any help. She'd almost have to bring a new leader ability would be cool. So you could kind of switch up which Resistance you use and make a whole new Resistance team. That'd be cool.
Maybe she could be both, Resistance and Jedi, and that'd be cool. You know what I'm saying? Because then she could have.
That would be very cool.
Yeah. I don't know whether she's going to be considered a Jedi, because again, the premise of this movie is basically based around the fact that Luke is trying to end the Jedi. So I don't know. I don't see her getting the Jedi tag. I think that would be kind of a spoiler for the movie itself. So that's another reason why I don't think we're going to see the event until the movie comes out or until afterwards. Because, if she is a Jedi, they can't put that tag on there until we see the movie. There's no way Lucasfilm is going to allow them to spoil that for us in the game. We're going to find that out, through the movie or through the course of the movie. So anything that could possibly, spill out even the littlest bit of information about, Rey or whether she's a Jedi or not, I don't think we're going to see any of that info. They're not going to confirm that until after The Last Jedi comes out, or until after we actually see the movie. But what a cool story to tell. We'll see her start from being on Jakku to the fight on Starkiller Base, which would be really awesome. But I don't know. I just think that it's. I think that the main thing is I'm not really that interested in farming the smugglers for this event, but obviously you have to put some work in, or there has to be some goal to achieve in order to get the new character. Otherwise, there'd be no benefit to the company for it. So yeah, it's cool. I just think I don't know. I wish that it were, for example. If it's going to be that, I wish that we had a little bit more time now. So maybe, give us the heads up now that the character could be that it might be the smugglers, or maybe just give us, a general idea. Another thought that people were having is that maybe it's First Order to get Jedi Rey, but didn't we need First Order for BB-8?
Yeah, that was what? That was the very last event, was it not? BB-8 was the last legendary event we got, the newest one.
Yeah, so it's not going to. It's not going to be First Order again.
Back, no.
Yeah.
Plus, I hope I'm wrong, because I would love to be able just to march my existing First Order, into this thing. That'd be great.
Plus the First Order. I'm sorry, not the First Order. The hero's journey with Luke, we saw without a doubt that it was his buddies that he took with him into that. So I would be very surprised if it's not very similar to that. In that we're going to be taking in the companions of Rey on this hero's journey with her. So with the CLS event, we had old Ben and Leia and Han and it was, very much so the characters from the trilogy. So I think that, yeah, without a doubt, it's going to be, BB-8 Finn, Smuggler Han and Smuggler Chewie. Now,
Well, what sucks is she's going to be a 7-star, like just like CLS. Like you don't get her a 5-star, right? Like you have to get her a 7. Is that wrong?
yeah, I'm sure you have to get her. I'm sure you have to get her at
Like,
7.
so, you can't really like, excuse me, you can't really like half do it. You can't just like, well, I'll unlock her this time and finish her the next time. I don't think that's an option. That could be. I hope I'm wrong, but
No, I don't.
nasty.
I don't think. I think you're gonna have.
With that being said, I mean, by the time we might have 150 characters in the game by the time she comes out. Like, if you can't get her, you can't get her. Like, the game model has changed now that you're not gonna be able to catch them all. Like, you have to either make decisions on which ones you want to purchase, or just go completely do that because there's so many characters. Like, just because you don't get Rey, like, don't quit the game and just like, is she gonna be overpowered and a meta character? Absolutely. But there are plenty of characters to build, squads around and make legit teams with that are available in the game already. So it just because it's going to be if you have to pull the veterans out of the shipments, that's an expensive, So
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of people that aren't gonna make that investment.
yeah, I guarantee they will probably release these characters right before the event, and then they might do like a double drop. But they'll probably. I would be shocked if they gave us more than like a week, maybe 10 days to prepare. And that's if you're talking about putting one of these characters on a hard note, that's rough. That's a tough way to go.
Yep, absolutely. All right, so the next thing we're going to do here is we're going to go into the meta report, and we're going to kind of discuss where the meta's at here, and it's going to be it's gonna be something different this time because there is a lot more Mother Talzin to talk about. I think, right? 37. No, it's still primarily just Kenobi and Rex and Commander Luke Skywalker. Mother Talzin is working her way up. She's still behind what I guess we're seeing is a lot more Admiral Akbar. Now, do you think that we're seeing this Admiral Akbar because of the team that I'm currently running, or we're seeing Admiral Akbar because people are running CLS with Admiral Akbar?
A lot of it, I think you're gonna see a lot more Akbar as more and more people get the Nightsisters because his speed rivals that because he's got the speed lead, and then how you beat these Nightsisters is AOE, right? So you go back to like Lando, like Akbar and Lando, and just wipe them. But Akbar is good because of the Hermit Yoda, yes. I mean, that team's gross, right? All the assists they get called in, that's a really good team.
It's a fun team. It's still kind of bad on defense, but it's a good team.
Well, Akbar is always going to be good.
Yeah.
To help the players without the fast mods, kind of keep up an arena, right? Like if you don't have very good mods, but you have very good characters, you can kind of use Akbar, the Akbar crutch, right? I mean, that's what you're doing. You're basically giving all of your characters a speed arrow by using Akbar. Is what you're doing. He doesn't do much else. But
right. Now, let's move along. Again, it's still very much similar here. I mean, we're seeing still some Finn there in the top wedge. Qui-Gon Jinn, and then rounding it out with Darth Maul holding on by a thread in the top 10. When he was actually holding the largest piece of the pie a few months back. Let's go ahead and take a look now at the top 10 rank 1 characters or squad members at rank 1. Now, again, the top 3 remain the same. Actually, the top 5 remain the same. Darth Nihilus is still seeing a lot of action. Barriss Offee, Baze and Chirrut, and Rex rounded it off. I mean, that's pretty much the staple top 10 that we've been seeing. I'm kind of surprised. I thought Mother Talzin would have made it into this list by now, but she is a pay-to-play character at this point, so there are going to be fewer people that are actually running her. But I even though you can't get her to gear 12 right away, I think what you want to look at or take from that video that we looked at a little bit earlier in the stream is that you can still use a gear 11 5 or 4 or 6-star Mother Talzin and make that work. And if you're planning on using her in arena, she definitely has some great viability there. So I think that you definitely want to take a look at giving her a shot as kind of a utility character, like some of these other characters that you have out there, like Commander Luke, like Grand Admiral Thrawn, like Darth Nihilus. Any of these characters that you can just kind of throw into a different squad and insert them and make that team viable. Some of these characters are not synergy specific, so you don't necessarily have to have, let's say, a whole entire Nightsister squad to run Mother Talzin, or you don't need to have an entire Empire squad to run Grand Admiral Thrawn. You don't need to have an entire Rebel squad to run Commander Luke Skywalker. So Darth Nihilus, same thing. So I mean, these characters are universal characters. You can kind of plug them into any squad and use them well. I think that much like people who were making investments into gear for Darth Nihilus at 3-star and 4-star, if you're trying to use, let's say, Mother Talzin in the same regard, I think you can actually do that as well. You're just going to have to possibly put on a lot of maybe protection or health in the mods department, but still looks pretty good. So,
well, I think a lot of people are hesitant to gear up at 3-star. All it takes is like one person in the arena shard to put him in there, to put Talzin in there, and they see how good she can be at 3 and 4-star, and then they'll start gearing up. I think you'll see that grow a good bit, even though she is behind the paywall. Like, because people will slowly start to figure out that 3 and 4-star she's usable.
Right.
I think.
Right. No, I think you'll start to see a lot more people using her, and that's the thing. I mean, you still see 5-star, 3-star Darth Nihilus is out there, Gear 11. Darth Nihilus is at 3, 4-star. Sorry, 4 or 5-star. So I mean, you can absolutely get there with Mother Talzin also. And again, it's because she's a utility character. I mean, she's going to be usable because of her plague. She's not out there necessarily just because of her damage or just because of her health as a taunting character. The main reason she's out there is because of the other things, the intangibles that she does for the rest of the team. Sort of like Yoda, for example. Yoda was a character that you could use no matter what, because I mean, again, even at 5 stars you could use a Yoda because he's going to give foresight to his team. He's going to give tenacity up to everyone. He's going to give everybody buffs and spread the buffs to everyone on the team. So he's a utility character. And in that same regard, Mother Talzin, inflicting plague and reducing the health of the opponents is going to help out the rest of the squad. So we're gonna do this week is we're gonna go back to doing some top 10s. Now, we didn't have any slides prepared for this week, so what we're gonna do is we're actually just gonna go into the character department here in the inventory, and we're just gonna kind of run through this list. Now, this is actually a list comprised of some of the top minds here at the Alliance. So we're going to go ahead and go through that. I believe Maurice has it prepared for us. So Maurice, who are we going to be looking at as number 10 in the top 10 here?
Well, we have a 10B, and that's just because I'm reading it out. I have a homer pick. Asajj is going to be the first one we look at.
Okay, 10B, Asajj.
She's not technically number 11.
Okay, and
her zeta is going to be on her leader ability for a lot of reasons we showed tonight. You can't solo the Rancor now. She rivals Vader as the best. I mean, she's another option to solo the Rancor, and a lot easier to obtain to solo the Rancor than Vader is right out of the gates for like newer players. And her leader ability, every time Nightsisters get hits, and if they go below 100% health, they gain 50% turn meter, which is incredible because I mean they're very squishy, and there's a lot of AOE heal now. Talia AOE heals. Daka, I think, does 50% of her max health to heal them all up. Asajj herself has stupid amounts of health steal. Acolyte too. And Zombie, every time she dies, she comes back at 100% health, so she'll have turn meter out of the gate. It's very, very good multiple use leader ability. And if we get like a dark side territory battle, Asajj's leadership in the Nightsisters is going to be very similar to how people are using the Resistance. Just kind of like they're the automatic. The Resistance are automatic on those bottom territories, right? Like because they're so good. but they don't have rebel synergy. But you can use them on the miscellaneous missions, and I think the Nightsisters under Asajj's lead are going to do the same.
Yep. And her ability reads: Nightsister allies have plus 30 speed, plus 30 offense, and gain 50% turn meter whenever they fall below 100% health, and have a 50% chance to remove 20% turn meter when they damage an enemy. This turn meter removal can't be resisted. So that's Zeta number 10B, which is in our top 10 Zetas. Now we're moving on to Zeta number 10, which I believe...
This is
Go ahead.
That's going to be Cody. It was tough. Like, there's so many Zetas in the game now. It's actually very difficult to make a top 10 list. Cody barely made it, just because of his Ghost Company Commander leader ability. It makes the whole faction viable. Everyone knows about the Princess Zodi team. You used all the clones minus Rex and insert Leia. And since all the reworks, now you can take all these characters to Gear 12. It's pretty realistic that you, with good mods, can solo P4 of the tank raid. A decent Galactic War team, very, very viable. The clones under a Cody lead, very good in TB up until you really get to those hard-hitting P5, P6 phases. Just makes the whole team legit. And damage out of his assist attack where he calls all the clones in.
Now it reads clone allies gain 30% crit chance, and other allies gain half that amount. Cody gains 60% defense for each living clone ally, and other clone allies gain half that amount. Clone allies recover 5% of their max protection whenever they use a basic ability. And that Zeta definitely helps that out. It makes them great in phase 4 would be their most viable phase in the AAT raid.
Yeah, and you can even use them with miscellaneous throw-in characters in P2. Like a lot of people now are soloing P4 with the resistance teams, using the clones for P2.
Right.
Very good. They're probably resistance and clones are like 1A, 1B for best tank teams. So I mean that's basically why they made this list. It's just for how good they are in the tank raid. But moving to the number 9.
Number 9.
Main man, Commander Luke Skywalker. And the Zeta we're talking about is going to be Binds All Things, is number 9. And that's the one every time Luke Skywalker does a debuff grant. I think it's 5% turn meter for each debuff, right?
Yeah, whenever Luke resists a detrimental effect, he recovers 5% protection. And whenever Luke inflicts a debuff, he gains 10% turn meter, and other allies gain half that amount. So 5% turn meter.
Right. And I looked at the Zeta list, and I think that's a top 3 Zeta. Lots of people have this Zeta.
Yeah.
Lots of people have Cody too, but I think that's going to slow down a little bit as people get more focused on new content.
We were talking before the show, and we were saying, there's 2 different types of lists, right? Like this is the top 10 overall Zetas, including PvE content and raids and everything. Whereas there would be a different top 10 if you were talking about top 10 Zetas for the arena. So again, if you were talking about top 10 Zetas for the arena, this would probably be higher on the list. But because there's other Zetas that are more viable for other areas of the game, they're just a little bit higher on the list at the moment. So, CLS is it binds all things is definitely a great addition, and obviously it helps out. He having 3 Zetas, really is a Zeta hungry character. But I mean, would you say this is the best one to get? And would you recommend doing a second Zeta on the CLS?
I just think there's so many Zetas that it's not a bad Zeta. His leadership ability, or even his other unique. All 3 of his Zetas are good. It's just that's a really large investment. Only one area, like the rebels. Like
right.
There's just so many. Like we just talked about Cody. He makes a whole faction viable and useful with one Zeta. But I personally think this is his best Zeta as well. It binds all things. Territory battles is really handy because the battles do last. But over the course of like a 6 territory battle, you're going to generate tons of turn meter through all 6 of those phases with this Zeta. So it's a very good Zeta.
All right, moving on to number 8.
That's going to be our main lady, Jyn Erso, into the fray, her leadership ability. And this is going to be the 8th Zeta. And this is another example of making an entire faction viable. Without the Zeta, it exposes characters. Or do you just want to read what it says?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, it's Rebel allies have plus 35% potency and recover 5% protection whenever they gain a buff. Enemies that suffer debuffs during Rebel allies' turns have a 50% chance to also become exposed for 2 turns, and this exposed can't be resisted. Now, with the Zeta, all Rebel allies recover 5% protection whenever they gain a buff. So,
and yeah. And that's why it's so good. Just because if you use the all Rogue One squad, I mean, you've got just tons and tons of buffs being passed around. Especially if you go all in with like a Cassian's unique Zeta or anything like that. All those health overtimes from Churi, you're just generating tons of protection back. And it's they're actually mandatory for the in 2 phases now for territory battles, and they're a very good Galactic War team. Jyn Erso herself obviously has tons of other uses in the game. For the raids and her removing the turn meter, so it's a good all-around Zeta that she'll get some utility out of in all areas of the game.
Yeah, I think she's great. I mean, I mean, I think as far as for territory battles, I mean, it's an essential Zeta, because I mean, really, it's going to help you get through a lot of. And my Rogue One squad is probably one of the best squads for my territory battle. So when I get to phase 6. I mean, besides, I'm kind of in a tough spot because I got to use, the Rogue One squad for that challenge or that Rogue One mission. But I wish I could use them for the Rebel mission because I know I'd get through, all 6 waves without a problem with that team because, the protection regeneration through the 6 phases, through the 6 waves, really comes in handy because by the 6th wave. In most cases, you're still dealing with a decent amount of protection and health for your squad. So,
she's also a pilot. I think that's why she could win 8, not 9, because she is a pilot of a ship that I don't really know how to use yet. Cassian's U-wing. I don't really know what I'm doing with that ship yet.
All right, now moving along to the next one, number 7 is going to be. Hermit
Yoda. Now you're going to have to read this one out because I don't even have him unlocked yet. So, but Hermit Yoda's strength flows from the Force Zeta. It's a brand new on our main man Hermit Yoda at number 7.
Right, and I actually have the Zeta. We equipped this on the last stream, but it's basically all allies have their current health percentages equalized. Health equalizing effects ignore healing immunity. So basically, much like Barris's heal. This does too. Then all allies recover 20% health and 20% health and 20% protection. Jedi allies gain foresight for 2 turns with this. So, basically, with the Zeta, you're adding the 20% protection. You're adding a cooldown, a -1 cooldown, and Jedi allies also gain foresight for 2 turns. So, this is adding a lot of different things with one Zeta. A lot of times with a Zeta, you're only getting one added feature, like kind of with Jyn, where you're getting the 5% protection or the 5% turn meter from this Zeta. This actually is adding 3 separate things. You're getting a cooldown reduction, you're getting 20% protection, and you're adding foresight for 2 turns to all Jedi allies. So I think if there is a return of the Jedi regime here, or you see a return of the Jedi meta, then this will really come into in handy here. And right now, with me using it in arena, it does work very well. Again, I don't think the team holds up very well on defense, but it's a lot of fun to play with. I mean, have you faced anybody that has this Zeta yet?
I have 2 or 3 guys on my shard that I've been snooping around the profiles. They have Hermit Yoda, but he's not arena ready yet. So I don't personally have any that I get to face. I'm looking forward to something new. That'll be fun. Theory crafting and thinking of best ways to beat all these Hermit Yoda teams people come up with.
Okay.
I look forward to that. Kind of. I don't want to lose, but we'll see.
All right. So now let's see. Moving along to number 6. I believe the next one is.
That's going to be Whirlwind on Fulcrum Ahsoka. This one I had a hard time placing this one. I mean, it definitely belongs on the list. So 6 through 8, basically 6 through 10 are all roster dependent on what you're most ready for. One than the other, but it's her Whirlwind ability, and just the cooldown alone on that Zeta almost makes it worth it. I mean, you're talking if you can get an extra Whirlwind off in an arena match. I mean, that could make or break the whole match. You know.
Right.
And I believe it also prevents you can't be evaded, right?
Yeah, with the Zeta, it kind of becomes kind of like Annihilate a little bit, you know. Whereas in like, it's not necessarily Annihilate because that's a guaranteed insta kill, but I mean this is pretty close to that. I mean you get this Zeta and you attack a character. In most cases, I mean I've seen a full base with full protection get taken out with this.
Right. And I'm currently working on her. I think she's gear 8. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's gear 8. So she's slowly getting there for me. She's not like high on the list, but she's definitely an awesome, awesome character.
So she basically has this ability called Meditate, where she takes all the buffs from her allies and that stacks, so she can then consume those buffs on this ability or special attack, which is Whirlwind, and as she deals physical damage to target enemy, this attack scores an additional hit for each type of buff consumed. The target can evade and has minus 50% armor against this attack with the Zeta. So there's a cooldown reduction. They can evade, and they get minus 50% armor with this attack. So that's what the Zeta actually gives the attack. So basically, taking away the armor and allowing the ability to be used a little bit more frequently. Also, meaning that they can't evade or dodge the attack, means it's going to be pretty much almost a guaranteed knocking out of a character. Again, if you're using a character like her and Nihilus on the same team, I mean, you have basically a ticking time bomb at some point where she's going to come and take out one of your characters at some point. So you have to be prepared for that. It actually happens a lot quicker with her than it does with Darth Nihilus. So you got to pay attention to that. And it's not necessarily being utilized as much right now in Arena and teams like that. But the meta shifts, and eventually as Rebels come back into the fold here, as we add characters that can spread buffs or different types of buffs in the game, the more buffs that she gets, the more damage she does. So we'll probably see a return to relevance for her here at some point. Now, moving along to, what is it, number 4?
Fulcrum was number 6. We're moving on to number 5 now. So that's going to be 1000.
So number 5 is actually
leadership ability of the Great Mother.
Okay, number 5 is actually Mother 1000.
Say it again.
The Great Mother. Okay, I'm there.
Yeah. Okay. We got Great Mother on Mother 1000, and that's she gives 50% potency and 30 speed. It's just on her base, right? It
reads Nightsister allies have plus 50% potency and plus 30% speed. What the actual Zeta gives you is when a Nightsister ally uses a basic ability during their turn, a random defeated Nightsister ally is revived with 50% health and called to assist. Then the revived ally is immediately defeated unless an enemy was defeated by that attack. So the revived ally can't be revived by this effect again until the end of the next turn. So what this means is basically a character is going to be called in for the assist, taken back from the grave basically, and called in to attack. And if that attack does defeat an enemy, they're able to stay, okay, with 50% health. So at the end of a match, much like we saw earlier in the video that we were watching, you could end up losing, 3 of your characters, and then by the end have all 3 of your characters back, with 100% health if you get a heal off. So very useful, and can, I'm sure, really add a lot of damage if you're dealing with attacks that come with, let's say, two deceased characters on your team. I mean, you can do an attack and call in two other characters for assist, and there's no damage reduction. It looks like so. You're getting
no, there's not. That's why it's so awesome. Like, over the course of a match, it generates so much TPS, like just tons of it. Like Asajj has that stacking offense, or even if Talzin herself is dead and gets revived, she's gonna basic attack and then hit everybody that has plague. So it's basically like a revive and assist AOE. It's ridiculous. That can't be countered because she's just gonna die again.
Right.
Pretty intense. It's. If anybody like he mentioned, if you guys are just catching us now, you can go back to the very first few minutes of the stream. There's some videos there, and if you guys are on the fence about maybe doing this leader ability, just feel free to message me. I've got it, Zeta, and I'll be more than happy to put it in Cantina Dark Side, so you can kind of take it for a test spin because this is a very unique ability in the game, and if you're considering it, just hit me up on Discord and I'll share it with you. You can try it out before you buy it.
Maurice will share it with you in Discord, so hit him up on the DMs, and he will hook you up.
Yeah.
But number 4, surprisingly, we were just talking about number 5, which is the Great Mother. Number 4 is actually Paul, Plague Bearer. Sorry.
Yeah, you can go ahead and just you can leave that Mother Talzin right on up. Number 4 is Plague Bearer, her unique ability. I don't have this one Zeta yet. I didn't have just 40 Zetas on hand to do it. But
so the way it reads is at the start of each enemy turn, if they are plagued, Talzin is active, they inflict plague on another random enemy, which can't be evaded or resisted. When any unit falls below half health, Talzin gains 35% turn meter. And what you're gaining with the Zeta here is when any unit falls below half health, Talzin gains 35% turn meter. So, again, that's a huge bonus because 35% turn meter means Talzin's going to go again, even sooner. And, with, this ability, this unique ability, adding the plague is to another enemy is a huge thing. So
well, it doesn't look that great on paper, but you have to think every time Nightsister Zombie revives, she's reviving constantly, and every time she goes below 50% health, which is pretty often, Talzin gets to go. I mean, the plague gets out of control on the opposite side. Like, you're just going so often with her, and she's just spreading it across the board. I mean, you can stack 6, 7, 8 plagues on characters, and every time these plagues start hitting the characters, especially if they have Barris. Like this is the hard counter to Barris, because every time they heal themselves up, it's going to penalize. They're going to penalize themselves because Talzin's going to go and drop them almost the whole team. If you got plague spread across the board, I mean they're going to heal themselves from Barris' Zeta, and just back above 50% health, and then Talzin, the plague itself will drag them right back down, and she's going to. I mean, she could theoretically get 100% turn meter.
Absolutely,
just like that.
Absolutely, and that's what I mean. It's a really cool ability because, again, getting all that turn meter she's going to get from each time one of these Nightsisters perishes or dies. It's going to make her go constantly, and I mean, when you're talking about again, running a full Nightsister squad, I mean, Talzin's going to be going all the time. So this is a pretty cool ability, pretty cool Zeta to add to her. So because getting below half health is going to be quite frequent on this team because they're going to continue to revive at half health. And I mean, if let's say you revive 2 characters at the same time with a basic attack, and they both come back in at half health, does that mean she's now getting 70% turn meter?
No. They have to fall below the half health. But
okay, I got you.
They come if they stay alive, then they'll be at 50%. But then again, going back to an all Nightsisters team, there's so much health steal and healing. I mean, even if they go below 50% turn meter, they're gonna be right back up. But this is the Zeta you want if you want to use her like as a utility character with like makeshift meta teams.
Right,
this is good for that.
But that's because they come back at 50% health when they're revived. So whenever they come back at 50% health, if they take an attack, any attack, or they die again, doesn't that give her 35% turn meter then?
Possibly. This will be my next Zeta. I'm almost there.
Yeah.
And I'll be able to answer all that because I'll use her all day, every day in Galactic War Arena.
You will test it out for us and let us know.
Yeah, these characters are brand new. I mean, I've gotten to play with the full team for like maybe 2 days now.
Okay.
You know, Talisman's only been out what, 2 weeks.
Yep.
So,
all right. Next Zeta is.
It's going to be. After talking about that, Finn actually is going to be our next one. And his leadership ability, balanced tactics.
Finn is going to be the next Zeta, and his leadership ability, balanced tactics. I happen to have this Zeta. So the way it reads is Resistance allies gain 30% offense and 60% defense, and other allies gain half that amount. Whenever a Resistance ally loses Foresight, they gain advantage for 2 turns, and whenever an enemy takes damage from Expose, reduce the cooldowns of all Resistance allies by 1 and grant them 35% turn meter. So what you're getting from this Zeta is actually whenever a Resistance ally loses Foresight, they gain advantage for 2 turns, and whenever an enemy takes damage from Expose, reduce the cooldowns of all Resistance allies by 1 and grant 35% turn meter. So really the main benefit from this leader ability comes from this Zeta. So some of these abilities, like some of these leader abilities, the abilities are already great. The Zeta just makes them even better. In this particular one, without the Zeta, I don't even recommend this leader ability at all. I mean, you kind of have to have the Zeta for this to even work in any type of way. The Expose, cooldown reduction, the 35% turn meter. I mean, what a great Zeta all around, especially for PvE content.
This Zeta, turns a faction to quite possibly like the most versatile. Like this one Zeta, and you just have a team that you can use for the tank. They're automatic for territory battles. We mentioned that earlier. You can use them across the board. Galactic War, and once you start getting the flow of the resistance and you learn how to stack the exposes and manipulate, you can go into every Galactic War match with at least 70% turn meter. I mean, they're great for Galactic War. You can build arena teams, like hybrid resistance teams with them. BB-8 has made them even more versatile now. If I was talking to a new player, this would be a top 3, maybe possibly one of the first Zetas I would recommend, like just for overall usefulness in the current state of the game.
Right.
If the character himself were a better character, it'd probably go up even higher. But
right. No, I just so much to say about it. I mean, it's a killer in the AAT raid. It's a great Zeta for the territory battles. Again, these Zetas where it reduces cooldowns, it gives you protection. It's going to give you foresight. This particular one, these help sustain your team through the course of the territory battle. Since that happens to be the thing at the moment, and a lot of us have already gotten to the point where we're comfortably clearing the heroic AAT raid, and more and more of us are not having issues with a lot of the other PvE content. The main thing is the territory battles right now, and when you get to those later phases, phase 5, phase 6, having a Zeta like this to help you, basically make an entire other team of players or characters viable for you to get through that part of the game is huge. Because now, instead of having to use, maybe your Rebel squad, earlier, you can just save them for, let's say a Rebel mission in phase 6, and then be able to use your Resistance squad for the light side battles. Because again, when you get to those last couple of phases, especially if you don't necessarily have a tremendous roster, it's every character counts, and
being able to now utilize Rey, Poe, Resistance Trooper, Resistance Pilot, BB-8, all these other characters, to help you get through another 6 waves at the end of territory battles, that's a huge asset to have. So again, a very important Zeta. Right now, not one of the Zetas that I would recommend for Arena, but for the PvE content, it's almost essential. So,
absolutely, but you can crack top 100, top 50 with a Finley.
Sure.
Getting into the top 20 nowadays can be kind of tough, just because there are characters that are faster than Poe now. Is basically why, and it's unfortunate. But
well,
the next one, man, I'm going to throw you for a loop. I am super embarrassed I didn't include it. We were talking about Townsend, but the next one is going to be just insert here. It's going to be Barriss. I completely forgot to put Barriss on this list. I'm pretty embarrassed by it. But number 3 is about where she would go anyway. You guys face it all the time. If you're on any,
this would be number 2. We did number
2B. 2B. Yeah, I completely forgot to put her on. I can't believe I'm embarrassed that I forgot to put the Zeta on there. But Barriss and that's going to be on her. The healing one, Swift Recovery. Basically, and you guys, like I said, you guys have seen it. It's getting better and better the more Gear 12 pieces people put on people. Whenever an ally is critically hit, they recover 20%. So, and you start stacking these med packs, these 6,000 health, the 6,250 hit point pieces on. I mean, on Barriss herself and also all the rest of the characters. If you crit hit somebody like Kenobi, he's recovering 11,000 health. You know, versus like the top tier. You know, it's
nuts.
It's a pain.
At the end of it, pain. Her unique already is pretty interesting. I mean, at the end of each of her turns, Barriss dispels all debuffs from the debuffed ally with the lowest health and gains 10% turn meter for each effect removed. Whenever an ally is critically hit, that ally gains or recovers 20% of their max health, and Barriss gains 10% turn meter. This effect is disabled while Barriss is defeated. So, this Zeta basically just keeps characters alive. I mean, you know, essentially, if you're looking to, you know, create a timeout team or, you know, have a team that does last, you know, throughout the duration of the match, this is going to be the Zeta that gets you there. Yeah, I mean, Barriss Zeta is very, very viable. I mean, you see it, you know, frequently used on a lot of arena teams right now. Not the most flashy Zeta out there, not the Zeta with the most pizzazz, you would say. Okay, but it's effective, and it helps you get, you know, from A to B. Let's put it that way. So,
yeah.
Moving along.
That was like just a random insertion that I forgot about. So we're technically on number 2 now. That was my bad. I can't believe I forgot to put it on there.
So number 2, yeah, I mean, she definitely should be there. So number 2 would be Han Solo, and we're talking about.
That is correct. Good old Raid Han.
Raid Han, his Zeta now is unbelievable. I mean, I have to say, I was kind of skeptical about it at first, but I have done it myself, and it's great. I use it, and it's also great for TB. It's great for arena. It's great for everything. And that's Han as, let's see here. Han has plus 35% counter chance and 20% critical chance. First time each turn Han uses his basic attack, he attacks again, dealing 50% less damage. Han takes a bonus turn at the start of each encounter. During this turn, Han ignores taunts and can only use his basic attack, but will stun the target for 1 turn and can't be resisted. So what the Zeta actually gives you is 10% critical chance, and the first time each turn Han uses his basic attack, he attacks again, dealing 50% less damage. So what this means now is that every time that Han, you know, attacks using his basic, he's going to go twice. And that not only you know, is a huge boost in damage because Han actually hits really hard with his basic, but you know, the increase in crit chance also helps him get more turn meter with his special attack. So he's you know, more frequently going to be getting 100% turn meter with that attack. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on the Zeta? I mean, overall, I think it's great for TB. It's great for arena. It's pretty much great for everywhere.
Well, I mean, you're never going to get. I mean, it's tough to do anything in this game without damage, right? He just provides so much damage. He gives himself so much turn meter, just going and going. This is an elite Zeta. I mean, I don't have it. I will have it eventually one day. It's just I feel kind of foolish for not having it and having some of these Zetas on ridiculous characters, but it's the best. The next Zeta I mean, it's probably a no-brainer. Everybody knows it. You could 1A and 1B here. If you're looking for offense, you definitely go home. If you're looking for go with our number one candidate, or that's gonna be R2D2. That's gonna be the number crunch Zeta. His other Zeta did not make the list just because of the introduction of Towson, and they can't cleanse themselves anymore. So it's kind of it's going to fall off a little bit. But number crunch is the first one. Best Zeta I think in the game.
It's absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. I mean, like, if you think about all the things that it does. So the way it reads is at the start of a battle, R2D2 gains 10% max protection for each droid ally, 10% offense for each Galactic Republic ally, 10% max health for each Rebel ally, and 10% potency for each Resistance ally. At the start of each battle, and when R2D2 revives, other droid, Galactic Republic, Rebel, and Resistance allies gain 10% of R2D2's max protection, offense, max health, potency, until R2D2 is defeated. So this is a really interesting Zeta because it kind of affects every single character on the team in a different way. And it also does affect every character on the team. So, I mean, if you're running a kind of hodgepodge Rebel squad with CLS and maybe Rex, and you're running, maybe General Kenobi out there, and you're running, a Resistance character. Maybe you're running with BB-8, or you're running with, Rey, or let's say you're running, a Finn Zeta with, with R2D2 on the squad. You're going to get a bonus for each different thing. So R2D2 is going to get bonuses. If there's a mixed bag of characters on his team, he's going to get a ton of different bonuses. And if you're talking about, let's say, characters like Rebels, for example, they're going to gain 10% of R2D2's max protection. And offense, max health. It's a ton of bonuses for those characters. So I mean, again, it's you're boosting R2D2, and then you're giving those bonuses to everybody else on the team. So it's just a tremendous spread. That's why it's just so great, because I mean, having R2D2 with CLS just makes the combo so much stronger.
And you can build. What's so cool about this Zeta in R2 in general is that you can mod him. Like if your team is kind of squishy, you can stack him with protection so he spreads that around. If you want your team to hit harder, you can mod him more offensively so he spreads that around to the whole team. He's super versatile, and this Zeta has only gotten better since they brought like Gear 12 into the game, and even these pieces we talked about with Barriss. I mean, all these new pieces are adding tons of offense and tons of health, and you start putting those on on R2, and he's just going to spread it around to everybody else. Very good Zeta. Should definitely be one of your, if you have R2. I guess if you start the game and R2's not available and comes around once every 4 to 6 months, then you might want to look elsewhere.
Those top three are pretty much essential. I mean, Raid Han, R2D2, Number Crunch, and I'd say Finn's leader ability are pretty much necessary. Barriss Offee also, even though I don't have Barriss yet, that's the character that I'm going to have to get at some point. I mean, it's just it's too good.
Well,
as much as I've avoided,
I don't think Barriss is essential to the game, but I think if when they start,
she may eventually
be pretty mandatory.
She may be eventually essential because, again, with like you said, Guild versus Guild, coming into play, you're going to have guys running timeout teams. You have guys running, all different types of teams and really interesting teams. You're going to want to have a Zeta Barriss, without a doubt. But that wraps up our top 10. That was, brought to you by Mac Media Collective. Shout out there, McLeod. That's for you. Okay. Now, as far as that goes, we're going to continue to do these. So what we're going to start to do is we're actually going to put a poll in the Alliance Discord chat for you guys to kind of vote on what you'd like the next top 10 to be. And we'll compile the votes in the chat throughout the week, and then we'll cover that top 10 in the following stream, whatever's voted the most. So maybe we'll do like a Survey Monkey or some sort of vote inside Discord for everybody to vote on the next top 10. So, but thank you very much to good old Maurice for getting some of that together. Now, let's go ahead. If you guys want to ask any questions, on the stream before we wrap it up, ask those questions now because we're going to be wrapping up the stream here pretty soon. So I'd like to get in your questions over the next few minutes, before we call it a day. Now I have 23 minutes left here to beat this.
Wow, yeah,
Fleet Mastery event.
That too. The Mace event.
Yes. Yeah, I got to do that. So we'll see here. I hope I have the ability to do it. Let me see. All these. I guess it's. I'll give it a shot the way it is. It looks like it's going to be pretty difficult. I think I had a hard time with this the first time, but are we going to be facing? Am I going to be facing the Chimera here with this one?
I think you faced Tarkin.
Okay, that's good because the Chimera.
I kind of just. I don't know. I didn't really pay much attention. All right, first, we do have a couple questions. The first one's from Chrome Cobra.
Okay.
It says, Arena Team. He's got GK, Zeta Barris, R2, Thrawn, and Nihilus. So he's got GK, Barris, R2, Thrawn, Nihilus. And he's got all of his characters at Gear 11 now. Who should be his first one to take to Gear 12? Kenobi, Barris, R2, Thrawn, or Nihilus?
Kenobi, Barris, R2, Thrawn, or Nihilus?
Mm-hmm.
And he's got how many characters in Gear 12 already?
His whole team. He just got to Gear 11 today, and now he's looking to push for the Gear 12 mark, and he's just asking which character should be his first. I would go with GK or R2, just because they're going to give you the most utility. Those 5 characters, maybe Nihilus.
Yeah, if
be pretty clutch,
If R2's on that list, I'd say he's got to be your number 1.
Yeah. Because if you take it to Gear 12, all those the extra pieces you're putting on him are going to increase his stats, and then he's going to just spread those stats across the board. So yeah, I would do R2.
I mean, he's such an important character. I mean, you can use him on any team. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's a droid. He's Republic. He's he's a rebel. He's resistance. I mean, he's pretty much. He's a jack of all trades. He does a little bit of everything. So, you can definitely use him very well. Next question.
This actually, this comes from good old Maurice.
Okay.
Does plague count as a debuff in terms of his culling blade? K. Drew dropped the knowledge on us, and they said no, the plagues don't count towards the damage of the culling blade. So I learned something tonight myself. Thank you, K. Drew, and all that answered. The next question is from my buddy Abner Dune. Who do you guys have Zeta, and who is next?
Who do I have Zeta so far?
Yeah, who do you have Zeta, and who's next on your list?
Okay, well, I mean, I have Jin Zated, I have Cassian Zated, I have K2SO Zated, I have let's see, Qui-Gon Jinn Zated, I have 2 R2-D2 Zetas, I have Death Trooper Zated, I have CLS Zated, I have a couple more that aren't coming to mind either, but what the next Zeta is that I'm working on is going to be, I believe I'm going to do the Zeta for either Ahsoka, or I may just save the Zeta and either apply it to Mother Talzin or Jedi Rey whenever she drops. Since we're talking about Jedi Rey coming out pretty soon, I'm kind of feeling like maybe I might want to hold off and start to farm gear so I can get her
that's a really good point. I haven't even considered doing that, but
yeah,
she might have 3 just like CLS, so yeah, you probably want to save 1. At least one.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that until you just said it. But yeah. All right, you want me to go now?
Yeah, sure.
Got 2 on R2D2, binds all things on CLS. I got a Saj and Mother Talzin, their leadership abilities Zeta. Ebb and Flow on Thrawn. Kylo Ren, Jyn Erso's lead, Finn's lead, Vader's lead, Cody's lead. The next ones I'm going for are going to be Plague Bearer on Talzin, Raid Han, Shoot First, and probably Bluff on Stormtrooper Han. Those are the ones I'm most interested in. As you just suggested, after I put that other one on Talzin, I'll probably just save, build up 20, and then once I hit 40, I'll put one on somebody else, just so I can have one for Rey or who knows, any future characters that are coming. So, you know, let's see what else we got. We got Ghosts Alpha. Question: who is the best player in your guilds?
Who's the best player in my guild?
Yeah.
Best player in my guild is this guy Ghost.
Yep. Set himself up there.
Yeah, no. The best player in our guild, it's tough to say. Okay, we have so many great players in the Alliance Alpha that it's tough to pick one. I'm going to go ahead and say that they're all great. As politically correct as that comment is, I'm going to go ahead and vote for the whole guild. All right, but no, seriously though.
Good answer.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, we're all great. So, next question.
That is about it for the questions. We got Ghost with a couple more troll questions if you want me to ask those.
Sure, why not?
All right, Ghost. Question: is Panda a robot zombie?
Yes.
Yes. And then one more for Ghost and Alpha. Are Ramon and Darktron still romantically involved?
Yes. Darktron sleeps over, and when we're hanging out together, we sit next to a portrait of Ghost in the bedroom next to the bed. It makes things more interesting.
Cognac by the fire with
just kind of steps up.
Ghost on the fireplace.
Sometimes you just got to step things up. You got to take things up a notch or two. Ghost's Ghost picture just just puts us in a happy mood. But yeah, I mean that's cool. Thanks for contributing, Ghost. I'm hoping that you contribute as much in our territory battles this week when we get to the Rolo mission. By the way, guys, yeah, we're going to be doing that Rolo mission this week, so hopefully I'll have some footage for that for next week's stream, or for a video coming this week at some point. We're going to be actually getting to do that 7-star Rolo battle, I believe. So we'll probably get a chance to face the ATST and territory battles for the first time, which will be really cool. So I'll definitely get some.
I'm really interested to see that. That is going to help a lot of guilds out. Just having like a nice little sneak peek of exactly what you need. Like the big question is, how high gear does my Captain Han and Rolo need to be?
Right. I'm terrified. I don't know how. I don't know how hard it's going to be, and that's kind of nerve wracking, because I have a feeling it's going to be really difficult, and if that's the case, I don't know if I have my Captain Han or my Rolo, really prepared for this. So, we'll have to see. But hopefully it's I'm just nervous for no reason, and it'll end up being a lot easier than I think. But again, we're going to have to use our rebels, for earlier, bouts in that same phase, and I don't know. I'm just kind of concerned that it's going to get to a point where it's a little bit. One second. It's going to get to a point where it's a little bit too hard, and I don't want to be in a position where I let my team down, because it's not like this is going to be for just waves or territory points. This is going to directly affect the rest of your team's rewards, so you're going to want to be prepared for that. But definitely getting a chance to take a look at it and see how good the team can be, will be very helpful. So I think it'll help a lot.
There is
of
a
people.
bright side. I mean, the rest of the combat, the special missions, the ones where you get the bonus rewards, none of them are overly difficult. Most of them, I think, for the most part, are the easiest mission in the phase. So I don't think this one will be the same, but I'm just crossing my fingers that's tough. Like, especially if you're in like a newer guild, it's really tough to try to force people taking Rolo and Captain Han up to gear 11 when there's so many other characters they still need to work on for just the entire game. It's tough to. It's a tough position. So if it's really difficult, that's going to be frustrating. So
absolutely. All right. Well, guys, we're going to go ahead and call it a. You know what? I'm going to do this one more time. So I'm just upset with my attempts and my failure here. I'm going to try to get this done. I feel like I'm making the wrong choices here at the end of the battle.
Well, I've tried to actually auto it twice now and it failed. So I got 12 minutes to try to focus and get me.
Yeah. You know what? Hopefully I can get it done. I think the last thing or the problem here is that in the last phase here, I'm going for Kylo Ren's command shuttle, and I think that's the wrong way to go here because I'm not doing enough damage to it, and it's like really tanky. So what's happening is, oh man, they're taking out. What's happening is Kylo Ren's command shuttle is absorbing too much damage, and I'm not getting.
Yeah, those TIE fighters just eating you up. Yeah.
Yeah, that, and I'm letting the Darth Maul's ship I'm letting Darth Maul's ship stealth everybody else. So that's the problem. If I was able to prevent that from happening, I think I'd be doing a lot better. So we'll see when I get there, if that's possible. But you said you've been doing another stream the last couple of weeks? Maurice?
What would you say? I'm sorry?
Is it you're a guest on another stream the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, we've been running a stream on Thursdays. It's myself, Darth Bob, and T Money are doing a Thursday night stream.
Uh-oh.
So it's a little more mature audiences. So don't let your kids watch it. That type of thing. But it's been fun, and figuring a lot of stuff out as we go. Learning curve, if you will.
Okay.
Third week doing it, so we'll be ready to start having some guests on there, and you'll have to bring it. You have to drop the knowledge on us, man.
Yeah, bro. Of course.
Yeah, this I tell you what, I went into this ship, this mace battle, way too light. Like I just went into the ships they recommended, and that was a terrible idea. Like I got just the Ghost and the Phantom and Cassie's G-Ring just dropping out of the sky because they're so squishy.
Oh, this is ridiculous. I'm getting destroyed here. And again, the same thing happened.
I might have to brush the dust off Rex's ship. I might have to use that ship. I never use that ship.
All right, I'm gonna have to sign off here and concentrate on this. We have 10 minutes left to do this. Guys, I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna make this. But again, thank you everybody for checking us out this week. Again, this week we're gonna have some great footage of the ATST battle when you get to Phase 6 with 7-star Rolo and Captain Han Solo. So we're gonna get a chance to take a look at that. I'll definitely have footage of that for next week's stream. Next week will be on Saturday night, and again, it'll probably be around 11 o'clock or so, 11 p.m. Eastern time. Around around that time is usually when me and Maurice are available. This week, I appreciate you guys for coming out for the late stream. We started at almost 1 o'clock or after 1 o'clock, so thank you guys for coming to check it out. And I really appreciate everybody sticking it out here till we're almost 3 o'clock in the morning here Eastern time. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off now. But we'll be back again next week. I believe we're doing Jedi Academy again tomorrow morning on the Reality Skewed Gamers channel, so check that out. Some fellow Alliance members and some Team Instinct guys and whole mixed bag. We got Sir Loki and Mike Hunt and a lot of other guests on that show too. So check that out tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern time. I will be a guest there. But as always, may the Force be with you guys, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for checking us out.